What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today we just got some new Primite cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come for our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out these new Primite cards. So first off, these cards are going to be released in Duelist Advance, which is going to be an amazing set. But we've actually just gotten our very first extra deck Primite monster, which is actually a fusion, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and see what these cards actually do. So first off, our new Primite fusion monster is called Primite Dragon Nether Berzelis. And this card is a level 8 Earth Dragon Fusion Effects monster with 1600 attack and 0 defense points. And its materials is a Primite monster plus 1+ normal monster, meaning you can use multiple normal monsters to actually step into this card, which is really interesting. Plus this card has the same stats with 1600 attack and 0 defense points as the level 4 Primite Dragon, which is actually really cool. So let's go ahead and see what this card's effect actually is. So this card has its first effect, it gains 1000 attack for each normal monster used for this card's fusion summon. That's a pretty good effect. So if you put, say, two basically normal monsters into this, plus the original Primite monster you need to put into this card goes all the way up to 3600, which is insane when you summon it out. For the second effect, negate the activated effects of monsters that your opponent controls whose level, rank, and link rating is less than or equal to the number of normal monsters on your field and graveyard. That's a pretty interesting effect as well. And it actually is just basically a walking floodgate. And for the third effect, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually special summon a normal monster from your deck and defense position, which is going to help you bring out a Blue Eyes White Dragon to your side of the field, which is really, really nice. The really cool thing about this card is the first thing that comes to mind with this particular effect is that you can actually use it with Dragon's Mirror to be able to put multiple normal monsters into this card by just banishing them from the graveyard to make this card absolutely massive on your side of the field. But it's a little bit counterproductive with your floodgate effect, but it could be a game-ending card that you could use with Dragon's Mirror to be able to summon this card out to your side of the field and it make it absolutely massive to help you go in for game in certain decks that are completely based around using this Primite Dragon Nether. And also we do have a new fusion spell, it seems, as well, and this card is called Primite Fusion. And this card is a normal spell card, and it has the ability you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. For its first effect, you get to fusion summon a dragon fusion monster from your X deck by shuffling its materials from your field, graveyard, and or banishment into the deck, including a normal monster. Meaning, if you use it with Dragon's Mirror and this card, you could technically make like 2 copies of it, and then just fusion back your copies of your cards that are banished to make 2 copies of this card, which would be insane to be able to do, to combine a bunch of normal monsters in the graveyard with your copy of Dragon's Mirror, and then use Primite Fusion to be able to make this card again to make a second copy to go in for some insane plays and get 2 of them out on your side of the field that are massive. Also, for the second effect, you can banish this card in the graveyard to add a level 5 or higher Primite monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a pretty cool effect because we do have a level 6 Primite main deck monster that you could use with this card as well, and the archetype, which is actually really interesting. But overall, these cards are actually really good for Primite. This card is a floodgate, which is pretty neat because you negate the activated effects of monsters your opponent controls whose level, rank, and link rating is less than or equal to the number of normal monsters in your field and graveyard, which is a pretty cool effect, but you're going to have a lot of normal monsters on the field or in the graveyard to be able to resolve that effect. And usually in like Blue Eyes, you're only playing like 2, so you're not going to have a lot of negates with this card. It's just going to be massive on your side of the field, and it's going to help you shuffle your cards back. So is this card going to see play inside Blue Eyes? I'm not sure. Probably not. but it does come out absolutely massive to your side of the field, but it will be used in some other decks that are completely based around Primite, and I think that's what they're trying to do, is get Primite to stand a little more on its own and not be quite such an engine. But this is actually really interesting to be able to combine this with a couple of different decks that you do play a bunch of normal monsters in, and this is actually going to be a really cool card, especially if you use it with cards like Dragon's Mirror to be able to summon this card out, because it is a dragon monster that you can use Dragon's Mirror to fusion summon this card out, and then just use Primite Primite fusion to be able to get another one. So you can base an entire deck around just summoning this out to your side of the field, which is going to be really interesting, especially if I have some interesting ways to be able to send a bunch of normal monsters to the graveyard. And definitely comment down below what deck you're going to be playing both these cards in. We also have one other card that just got announced as well for Duelist events, which we're going to go ahead and check this card out as well. And this card is called First of the Dragonlords. And this card is also going to be released in Duelist Advance. And this card is actually based on the First of the Dragons. I know it does look like a Thunder Dragon, and it really, when I first saw this card, I thought it was a Thunder Dragon monster until I read the name. And I was like, whoa, we're getting Thunder Dragon support. And then I read it, and I was like, wait, no, it's just a retrain of the First of the Dragons. But this card is actually First of the Dragonlords, meaning it's an upgraded version. And this card is massive, coming out at 3,700. Let's go ahead and see what this card actually does. So this card is a level 11 Dark Dragon Fusion Effect monster with 3,700 attack points and 3,000 defense points. That is massive to be able to summon. Its materials are 3 normal monsters to make this card, which is not that big of a deal and very easy to actually use. And it must be fusion summon, and you can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. For the first effect, you can only control one of this card. I believe the First of the Dragons also had that ability. For the second effect, it cannot be destroyed by battle and is unaffected by other monsters' effects. That's big. That's actually huge because it's not going to usually get destroyed by battle because it's 3,700. That's going to be a big monster that you're going to have to summon. But it also having the ability that's just completely unaffected by other monster effects is just insane. That's really, really good for this card, especially with Primite running around now. This card is going to become a staple in a lot of decks. For the third effect that you can only use once per turn, this card has the ability once, while faceable in the field, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can destroy all spells and traps on the field. That's pretty good that it's actually just a heavy storm as well, because it's kind of in the clouds. That's really cool. It's a really cool card overall. And I really like the artwork of this card. I do see this seeing play in different decks that are actually playing Primite. And I think this is actually directly Primite support because they're wanting you to actually use Primite a little bit more. And it's really an awesome card to be able to use. It does so much. It reminds me so much of Thunder Dragon Dark though, like an upgraded version of Thunder Dragon Dark. And I really wish it was Thunder Dragon support because that'd be really cool to actually see a new boss monster for Thunder Dragon. Maybe in the future we'll get Thunder Dragon support, but it does look a lot like Thunder Dragon support to me. But it's not. It's actually normal monster support because it does require 3 normal monsters to make this card. And this card might be a really, really good super poly target moving forward as well. But just being able to just control one of it, and it's unaffected by every monster, and it can't be destroyed by battle is insane. You can still spot move this card with spells and traps, which is going to be really easy to get this card off the field with spells and traps. But it's a really cool card because it just is so difficult for your opponent to deal with if they're playing a monster heavy deck. And then if your opponent activates a spell or trap card, then or a effect, you can just destroy all spells and traps on the field, which is actually a really, really cool effect. And then on top of that, the new Primite cards are just really, really cool. They're actually starting to stack up the extra deck a little bit for the Primite engine and actually maybe turning into a more pure deck, which is really, really cool. But the Primite cards are just so detailed and so cool looking, and I absolutely love them. This is technically the third Primite Dragon monster, which is really, really cool. So that is going to do this one, guys. Definitely comment down below what you guys think of these new cards. I think they're amazing and they're really cool looking overall, and I think they're actually going to see a lot of play. Not so much the Primite cards as the new First of the Dragonlords. I think this card is actually broken and really, really good. And the new Primite cards are pretty good, but I feel like Primite already kind of has what it needs. You might play this card at 1, and you might play this card at 1 or 2 in the extract because it is searchable. So maybe 1 copy of it might be enough to help you go into a really cool fusion monster, help you go into some really cool rank 8 plays using Blue Eyes would be really, really neat. So that's going to do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.